Hello, everyone, and welcome to an exciting edition of Leadership Talk, where we spotlight visionary leaders shaping the future of work and technology. And I'm thrilled to be joined today by a true trailblazer in the digital transformation space, Pallavi Katiyar, who's Chief Information Officer at Tech Mahindra. Pallavi brings over 2 decades of experience in driving large scale technology initiatives across global organizations, from ERP rollouts and cybersecurity overhauls to enabling intelligent automation and digital workplaces. As a CIO, she doesn't just manage systems, she architects business value and champions workforce transformation. Pallavi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on board, Yasmin.
Thank you, Pallavi. And just to introduce myself again to the audience members, I'm Yasmin Taj. I'm the editor for ET HR World and ET Education by the Economic Times. So it's a pleasure to have Pallavi. I'm looking forward to some interesting insights from you. And I've kind of segmented this conversation into a few parts, Pallavi. The first is obviously where I'd like to kickstart a rapid fire round with you, which is called
Okay.
Tech in the Fast Lane. So are you ready?
Yeah, yeah.
So, one emerging tech trend that CIOs simply cannot afford to ignore in 2025, Pallavi.
It's a no-brainer, right? AI.
I know. Yeah. I think not just CIOs, CHROs, CFOs,
Everyone,
CEOs,
right?
nobody. Yeah,
So the
exactly.
potential of
Biggest,
AI is huge, and
yeah,
yes, all the CXOs and all the functions and businesses and industries are really
yeah,
doing deeper dive into the potential it has in terms of
yeah,
transforming the way we do business.
yeah, absolutely agree with you on that. All right, second question. Biggest myth about CIOs when it comes to workforce transformation.
So the biggest myth is that CIOs are primarily responsible for infrastructure and backend support, which in my view has dramatically changed
Yeah.
in today's world. Now the CIOs are at the forefront of all the transformations that are happening across the organization, and they are also driving a lot of cultural change in terms of bringing the digital first tech culture and thought process in the organization.
Yes, that's lovely. Great. Thank you. I think absolutely agree with you that there's nothing called back in the being in the background now. They're in the at the forefront of transformation today. Third question for you for rapid fire. Cloud, AI, or automation. What would be your top pick for HR tech investments right now?
AI and automation. Obviously, automation is where we are looking. Automation has been around for very long, and the intent is to automate to drive productivity improvements. But
Hmm.
with the potential of AI, AI and automation together are bound to make a much more significant impact when we start looking at them together and start delivering solutions which are built around AI and automation.
Yeah, I think they kind of complement each other, right? So we are
Complement.
automating. Yeah, AI is kind of enabling, enhancing that function. So thanks for sharing that, Pallavi. Also, final rapid fire for you. So, as a CIO, what are your go-to metrics to measure the impact of tech-driven transformation?
So there are few, right? Depending on which function or which process are you looking at. But one of the biggest um, metrics that we look at is the overall productivity improvement,
Yeah.
and the percentage of automation we are bringing in any process.
So you do get absolute numbers for this, right? For productivity improvement also.
Yes.
And
So
yeah.
what we typically do is that whenever we're looking at automation or we're looking at doing any kind of a process transformation, we typically map the user journey and the time. And we do a kind of a time mapping of the effort that an individual has to spend in terms of number of seconds, minutes, hours, whatever, for completing an end-to-end process. And then
Mm.
as we start bringing in different technologies and automation and simplification, obviously you have to really measure how much improvement you are seeing in terms of the total turnaround time for
Yes.
completing a
Yeah.
certain
Great.
process.
All right. Great. Thanks for sharing that. Insightful and fun at the same time. But now let's get into the real game changers and dive deeper into your journey and vision, Pallavi. So, Pallavi, traditionally, technology has been seen as a back end or support function, and you spoke about it in the rapid fire section. But that perception obviously has changed. So, in your view, how has the role of technology evolved at Tech Mahindra specifically? And how are today's CIOs leading the shift from operational enablers to strategic growth partners?
earlier the CIOs were kind of or the CIO organization was typically being kind of, the perception was they were the technology gatekeepers. Now, however,
Yeah,
what is happening is that now technology, and when we say technology, erstwhile in the erstwhile years, technology was more about infrastructure, but now technology has become such an integral part of every process and everything that we do in the organization, be it on marketing, be
absolutely.
it on HR, be it on finance. So now everything that the CIO organization does is having a very significant impact in terms of either the digital transformation that is needed in that process or function, in terms of the productivity improvement, in terms of the data analytics, right? I mean, there's so much of, every organization has such a huge amount of data which is there, but being able to leverage that data into actionable insights is something where again the CIOs are working very very closely with the business stakeholders to ensure
Hmm.
that they are able to give those actionable insights, which obviously the respective teams would have to take forward and ensure that they are putting the right processes, tools, solutions in place to address those gaps or those insights that are.
Hmm.
And now, more importantly, what is happening is that there is also, with the, in the new world where Amazons and the Flipkarts and all the mobile solutions and the apps which are there, there is a need for even the enterprise applications and processes to be at par with that, right? So CIOs
Yeah.
are also at the forefront of designing and implementing a digital workplace where everyone in the organization expects a very instant and a very very seamless experience with respect to various processes. So that is,
Yeah.
the CIOs are playing a very very key role in terms of working with their stakeholders to really see how do they digitally enable this organization, from a process tool, and technology, and obviously from a culture standpoint also, right? Because it requires a cultural shift also, um,
Exactly.
in how we are driving this.
Absolutely. I think that the kind of role CIOs play today in the overall organization is so integral because, as you said, many functions weren't even automated. They weren't even using technology until some time back. And today, everything from start to finish is tech based. So the way and the kind of data that gets churned out, how do you understand data better? How do you align all of this to the business and where the business is leading? So that role of managing tech, automation, data, and kind of producing results that impact business. I think that's the role of a CIO that's very, very critical today. So
Correct.
thanks for sharing that. But Pallavi, one question as a follow-up to that. What do you think is keeping a CIO awake today? What is it the biggest worry for a CIO?
Security. They with See, what is
Yeah.
happening is with the fast changing. While cyber security was something which was always there, right? But
Yeah.
what has happened, especially in the COVID and post COVID era, and with the fast changing geopolitical situation, security or cyber security has become something which has become very integral to everything that the CIO has to do going forward,
Mm.
be it in terms of the core infrastructure setup that you're doing, or in terms of the solutions, or the new applications that are being designed. And when we say security, it includes obviously the cyber security, but also the data security, and then the data privacy requirements, which have also started becoming something which every
Yeah.
country is coming up with a new requirement. So it's a
Yeah.
combination of cyber security, data security, and data privacy,
Yeah.
which is forcing all the CIOs to really rethink or reevaluate everything that has been done, and we need to ensure that we have to actually start thinking differently in terms of
Yes.
approaching some of it, and thinking more like people who will potentially try and breach your the security perimeter you have.
Pallavi, let's talk something more about enabling the workforce of tomorrow. So, as according to you, what key technologies, for example, AI, cloud, or automation, are you investing in to power this shift for the workforce of tomorrow? And if you could share some real world examples of how a tech intervention has helped you at Tech Mahindra future proof your workforce, that would be really nice.
So yeah, so we are investing heavily in the reskilling and upskilling of our employees, and these are being driven through various initiatives. So we are, for example, actively collaborating with various universities to ensure that we are fresh, we're tapping into the
Yeah,
fresh talent, and we are also learning from some of these organizations, because technology is evolving very fast, right?
yeah,
And some and and it is becoming very difficult for anyone to keep pace with the way things are evolving. So
yeah,
there is a lot of focus on reskilling and upskilling. We have What we have done is that we have also built internal centers of excellence which are focused. For example, there's a centers of excellence for AI, there's one for automation, there's one for cloud, which are also focused while on not only building solutions for the customers, but they are also kind of focusing on improving the internal knowledge and the skill set of our associates. So the center of excellence, they also bring in lot of experience from the customers, and that helps in further honing the requirements from a learning and training standpoint.
mm,
uh, Other than that, what we have done is that we have also implemented on certain AI driven tools for personalized training. So for example, traditionally all the organizations used to invest heavily on LMS systems, but now we are looking at LXPs, which is like a more holistic approach
yeah,
towards learning. So that
yeah,
is something that we are again actively working on and investing in. um,
mm,
Also, what we are doing is we have, in fact, recently deployed a solution which uses a lot of AI to really curate a personalized learning and development schedule for an employee. Uh,
nice, nice,
so instead of using a very cookie cutter kind of a thing, saying that okay, now AI is the, or say we need to train 100 people on Java. Instead of
yeah,
that, what we are doing is that we are collecting a lot of data in terms of in terms of the employee skill, in terms of the market trends,
mm,
in terms of the customer demands, and then we are curating the learning plan for that individual.
yeah,
So
interesting.
yeah, so those are some things that we are very actively investing on and focusing on as well.
I know. I think in times where businesses are just getting disrupted so fast, our employees have to also be very quickly being up to, they have to be brought up to speed. And that's where technology, AI will play, they'll create those personalized growth journeys for them, personalized plans for them, and democratize learning in a way where they can learn and upgrade, upskill themselves wherever they want, however they want. So that's the kind of work I think AI and automation are doing when it comes to developing the for the future. So thanks for sharing that, Pallavi. Very, very interesting. I now want you to look through the employee experience lens and tell me, Pallavi, with technology becoming more embedded in day-to-day employee experiences, how are you ensuring that digital solutions feel intuitive and consumer grade while still maintaining robust data security and compliance?
Um, so, so TechM, like any other company, where we have a process is that we have 100 plus applications cutting across various functions, right? Be it finance, HR, learning and development, etc. So we have a very robust mechanism in place where we review these solutions on a periodic basis,
Hmm.
and try and map the user journeys, especially in context of how things have evolved in the organization, in terms of the processes, in terms of tools, etc. How things are evolving in the market, right? Because um, with the Amazons and as it Flipkarts and all the new technologies on the world, and the fact that every company in the world is investing heavily in terms of the user experience, there is so much that you can learn from some of these solutions which have been deployed by other organizations. So we also
Yeah.
do a little bit of a benchmarking in terms of where do we stand in terms
Hmm.
of the user experience and user journeys
Hmm.
vis-a-vis some of these publicly available solutions in the market. So
Hmm.
based on that benchmarking, we identify improvement areas, and we kind of try and constantly incorporate some of those learnings from
That's a nice.
others and industry into the solutions that we already have. Then
Mm.
obviously, one thing which we are very heavily focusing right now in is that traditionally automation was the focus, right? Now for last several years it was all
Yeah.
about automating the manual work. But now we are also saying that apart from automation, can we also not only automate but maybe get into a self-service mode using AI, where some of it would get auto resolved or auto closed, and there would be absolutely no manual intervention required at all for
Yeah.
anyone. So using a combination of automation and AI, we are revisiting a lot of our processes, and also looking at historical data. We kind of have come up with our own SLMs, which are basically small language models, which are
Yes.
being trained specifically on certain business scenarios. And these SLMs are able to kind of further improve the automation accuracy and the effectiveness of some of these tasks which various people in the organization used to do, and that
Yeah.
obviously leading to an improved productivity for our associates globally. And hopefully it is kind of contributing in to a higher revenue for us, because now those
Yeah.
associates are able to actually focus more on more critical work rather than being bogged down by some of these
Yeah,
repetitive.
exactly. Yeah, so it's I think all about treating your employees like you treat your customers, right? And give them that kind of an experience, that level, that intuitiveness, that seamlessness that is required in every digital solution that you provide them with. So thanks for sharing. I think TechM is really far ahead in the journey right now. Also, flexibility and hybrid work, that's it is kind of a norm, and digital skills are in constant demand. So how are you reimagining IT infrastructure to support hybrid work, flexibility, continuous learning, or seamless collaboration across dispersed and distributed teams, Pallavi?
So we actually embarked on this journey a little closer to COVID, because what happened was that COVID really forced us to revisit how
Hmm.
new way of working would be, and we realized it pretty early that the new future is going to be a hybrid model.
Hmm.
For over last 3 4 or for I would say from 2020 onwards, we
Yeah.
actually started revisiting our entire architecture from both infrastructure as application standpoint, and we decided to move more towards a hybrid cloud strategy,
Hmm.
where a lot of our critical applications and infrastructure, we have started moving it more towards the cloud. Not everything would move to the cloud, but anything which is
Hmm.
critical is now kind of has been rebuilt using a cloud native for foundation, and that kind
Yeah.
of not only gives you the scalability and the resiliency which is needed, but it also ensuring that irrespective which part of the world you are, the it just becomes very seamlessly accessible to
Hmm.
our users. Then the other thing which is not unique to us, but we also invested significantly in terms of the collaboration tools. So we invested in both Microsoft and Google technologies and a couple of others, so to ensure that our associates have
Yes.
multiple solutions available to be able to connect from anywhere and and collaborate with
Collaborate.
anyone. Yeah. So rather than having just investment in a single technology, we actually made a very conscious decision that we are going to have at least two technologies in the mix, which not only gives us flexibility from a business continuity and DR standpoint, but it
Hmm.
also kind of gives a little bit of a flexibility to a users, depending on what is the business need, to kind of flip between the two if when the need arises. Then the
Yeah.
third thing which we have been doing is that we embarked on that whole zero trust security. So now, so that has become an integral part of again the whole redesign of our architecture,
Hmm.
both application and from infrastructure standpoint, because now all these applications and infrastructure has like simple things like multi-factor authentication, already kind of built in, so people can access these applications from anywhere in the world. It doesn't really matter where they are. We have also invested a lot in other security solutions, be it on the endpoint security, be it on the application security, or the network security. But there has been so much of security ingrained in everything that we do, that it has just given us that confidence that it doesn't really matter from where the users are or our associates are joining. They will be able to have a very seamless and a secure connection, and also a highly optimal solution from a connectivity standpoint, in terms of the application performance, or
Yeah, yeah.
so those are things which we have been doing, and we are constantly building more and more on that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, because we will, I think, continue to work with distributed teams geographically or remote teams, hybrid teams. So that combination will always remain. So if
Yeah.
organizations like yours, if you can give them those multiple platforms to collaborate better, work better, and that too on a trusted platform, that's going to be very critical.
Right.
So Pallavi, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Time for the final question now. And this is very critical to us. We are talking about the CHRO CIO synergy. So, Pallavi, one of the most powerful alliances in any organization today is the one between the CIO and the CHRO. So, how do you and your HR counterparts at Tech Mahindra collaborate to ensure that tech decisions support workforce well being, productivity, growth, and culture goals?
So, I mean, at least, I'm very proud to say, actually, our CHRO organization, or our HR organization, is as tech savvy as my organization, and often they are the ones who are pushing us to think differently. And
Yeah,
they're really challenging, because for the right reasons, they are very focused on how to improve the employee experience, right? And they
yeah.
keep on pushing the boundary for us, and keep on challenging us to think differently, to provide more solutions. So, for example, one of the solutions which we kind of delivered for them very recently, and it is a AI driven. I mean, it's a solution which has got a lot of AI embedded into it. We call it as a BeMe, or a better version of me. Uh,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what it does is that, and the intent of that solution is to just kind of ensure that we are creating a more healthier and a productive and a work environment for our associates. So what it does is that it will analyze your mails. It runs in the background. It will analyze your emails. It will help you identify if there are any unconscious biases. It will also be able to kind of analyze your moods, right? I mean, just basis on the tone of your mails. And so the model has been trained in such a way that it will know, okay, typically this is how Pallavi responds, but today she is responding in a slightly rude manner, and it might be whatever what
Yeah.
might, but
Yeah.
there's something which is off in terms of.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
kind of helps analyzing some of these behaviors, and it kind of what it does is that it prompts the user, saying that this is something is wrong, Pallavi. Hope you're feeling okay. You seem to be, or maybe there is a certain unconscious bias in how you are responding to. So those are kind of those little prompts which it gives to the associates,
That's
to
nice.
ensure that they are kind of they just it just becomes a healthier way, right? I mean, you sometimes humans, we don't know that we are biased, but it
I
helps
know.
those kind of identifying those
It's like
moments.
having that true friend or an elder sister telling you, "Oh, listen, watch out, you're going a
Yeah.
little haywire. Come back." Yeah, that's nice. That's an interesting concept. Thanks for sharing. Great.
But there are
So,
a lot of these things which we are doing. We are
yeah,
also, we are working also with them very closely on enhancing the new joiner experience as well, right? I mean, while a lot of these initiatives and applications become very effective once you join the organization, but
yeah,
what we realize is that unless and until a prospective joiner has a very good experience, he or she might decide to kind of drop out at just before joining. So to ensure that we are seeing a better conversion, we are we are also kind of trying to map the entire journey of a prospective new joiner and trying to change
Oh,
that
nice.
experience. They're like various initiatives that we are doing. Other thing which we were looking at was that we used to take a lot of time to process the expense and the travel requests. And then again, we kind of took up a Six Sigma project, and we said that why is it that we need to really start, or we need to kind of be very we have to look at each and every, like, last penny of spend. Can we kind of have a little bit of a trust, and maybe just approve certain x amount of, so any expense, say, which is say up to 50 rupees, you should ideally not
Yeah.
for a, I mean, these are just hypothetical cases, but yeah, anything say for a 50 rupee spend, should we even ask the associate to submit a proof?
Mm,
So those are the
mm,
things that we started working on, and then we once we identified what is that threshold for which we will not ask for any approvals, we implemented it as a policy as well as a solution, where any such expense which gets submitted, it gets auto approved. There's kind of no need for any intervention from anyone. So those are like,
yeah.
we kind of doing everything which will help in really improving this experience that our users have, and we're working very
Great
well
example.
with our HR organization.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Pallavi. I think great examples. Tech Mahindra, as I said earlier, also you're at the forefront of this change, and the this power duo that I call the CIO and CHRO power duo. I think you're leading it with great example today. Really, people can learn a lot from how you have collaborated with the HR leaders and the CIO community together to bring about solutions that are not just helping employees but overall impacting business in a very positive way. So thank you for sharing it. It's a lot to learn from this these
Thank
examples that you shared. So now that was all the time I had, Pallavi, for this interesting interview. But thank you. I think this has been a masterclass for me in how technology, when led with vision, can unlock such tremendous value for both the business and its people. I think what you spoke about, and building a future-ready workforce, of balancing experience with security, driving culture through technology, managing flexibility, hybrid workforces, managing the relationship between CHRO and CIO. I think they're going to be very relevant in today's fast changing world. But before we wrap up, I have one quick rapid fire again, Pallavi. So if you had one piece of advice for aspiring CIOs to looking to make a mark in workforce transformation, what would that be in one line?
Don't think technology, think user experience. So I
Nice.
mean, for me, that is because technology is just an enabler, but if you don't understand the business and what you're
Mm.
trying to solve, then irrespective what tool or solution you bring in, it will be of no use.
It'll yeah. So think business, think the user experience, and then bring the technology in. I think that's a great advice. So great. Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us for Leadership Talk, Pallavi. It's been a pleasure. And to all our viewers who stay curious, stay inspired, and we will see you next time with yet another transformative leader. So thanks, Pallavi. It was a pleasure having you.